So, hello Ajahn Ricardo and also the people who watch this video. So we are a Poland group. So we're gonna present about the pesto on the Poland country.
So, and
so
benefits
all,
from the interview.
I'm gonna talk
So
about the political. So right
we
now
analyze this
Poland have
in the interview question, and then we got 3 points from CCTP. So the first one is communication. The communication is really important because when you work in the
EU try to
working
force
with
them to
another
change the
people,
law, but some of them is like really
of course
angry
it's gonna be make misunderstanding.
refuse the new
So
law. They don't want to change
if you
anything.
don't have like a good communication skill with another, it's made a trouble to
stay in the
company for sure. But if you have like really good
so they have to change the
skill
law.
of communication with another people,
also,
so you can form the team and you
right
can work with another people like
if you don't want to
efficiency,
change,
like both
if you
productivity.
if you don't
And
want to
secondly,
change or something,
the second is the
you're
long-term
gonna lose the
benefit. Of
profit
course,
or
when
something
you
about
have the
EU,
CCTP and
you're
have
gonna
a
send
lot of
them
stuff
out
that
of the
from
EU
different culture,
Union.
CCTP is really important. So it can make the long-term benefits. The people. So when you have like the people from different background, different country, so they have like different skill from us. So someone from Western can be have like very open-minded, very good knowledge from there, like operational. They're really good at it. So the manager can the employee is can flexible and open in mind, can approach to the new challenge in the foreign environment. And the third one, the finally, is that adaptation. So adapting is difficult. It's difficult when you go to abroad, when you move to abroad. So it make you like feel down and can make the depression. So the best thing to living abroad to adapt the new culture. So if you can adapt to the new culture very easily, very fast, you can have like really bad experience in your life, and it also in the workplace. And so, and when you adapt to the new culture, so that your friend and your workers who work with you can support and help you, and it's good for you when you work in the different country. So thank you very much for your attention.
Economies in Poland. Poland economic growth was favored by rich natural resources for both agriculture and industry. So they're the world's fourth largest coal producer in 1970s to 1990s, and most of their productive industries, such as manufacturing and food processing, were built on the coal's resources. After World War II, the Poland's new communist rulers reorganized the economy and the model of state socialism. They established the socialism according to Joseph Stalin in Soviet Union. The result was the predominance of heavy industry, large enterprises, and top-heavy centralized bureaucracy controlling every aspect of production. However, the failure of the central state planning to yield economic growth, they inspired social unrest and officially policy reform in 1970s and the early 1980s. However, no real change occurred at that time until 1990, where they changed the government system. They have the first non-communist government, and then they try to reform the country's economies by coming up with a reform program. Um, this program includes privatization of all parts of Polish economy, and they wanted to make the system more Western style and market economy, basically a free market. So in its effort to westernize the economy after 1989, Poland relied heavily on expertise and financial support from international financial institutions.
Good morning. Today I'd be doing the socio-cultural analysis for Poland. So, Poland has high literacy rates due to the legacy of its communist past and because of the special efforts that have been made to promote education. Around 99.5% of the total population in Poland was literate as of 2010. The private schools for higher education were introduced in the early 1990s. The country has a comparatively well educated population with good technical skills. However, Poland is likely to face a difficult demographic situation in the long run. A declining birth rate and growing life expectancy will result in a large proportion of people aged 65 and above. Although Poland has one of the largest populations in Europe, its size forecast to decrease gradually, which is a cause of concern. The government has embarked on social reforms to tackle the issue of an aging population, but much more needs to be done to bring sustainability in pensions. Poland's education system is split into lower education and university level education. Pupils start primary school at the age of 6, then go to lower secondary school at the age 13, which lasts for 3 years. In 1999, a reform was introduced wherein several new types of schools were introduced, including a 6-year primary school, a 3-year gymnasium, a 4-year technical secondary school, and a 2 to 3-year vocational school. The implementation of the reforms also reduced the duration of completing primary schools from 8 to 6 and for high school from 4 years to 3. The government adopted new legislation in 2009 which stipulated compulsory pre-primary education at the age of 5. Legislation came into effect in 2011. According to the new legislation, primary education is to begin at the age of 6, which has been effective from 2012. Hello, now I'll talk about the technological environment of Poland. Poland is rapidly transforming into a knowledge-based economy. The Polish IT market is expected to be among the region's fastest growing over the next few years. The number of internet users increased an average rate of 24.51% during 2001 to 2011. However, the growth rate of internet users fell from 5.06% in 2010 to 4.78% in 2011. The internet subscribers as of 2011 stood at 24.75 million from 23.62 million in 2010. The Polish internet access market is forecast to have a value of $2.68 billion in 2016, an increase of 51.3% compared to 2011. In October 2010, the government introduced a package of acts of science sector reform, including the Science Financing Act, the Act on the Polish Academy of Sciences, the Research Institutes Act, the Act on the National Center of Research and Development, and the Act on the National Center for Science. Under the science reform, the country has introduced a new model of financing the science sector based on competitiveness, quality, and transparency of procedures. Under the Act on the National Center for Science, an external agency has been tasked with the distribution of funds for basic research. The country will establish National Leading Scientific Center that will be financed initially for 5 years with the possible extension of another 5 years. The reform is expected to increase the innovation in the country. That's about it for technological environment. Thank you.
Well, for environment in Poland, Poland suffered as heavily as any other East European country from the environmental issue due to World War II. For over many years, the economy of Poland had depended on unrestrained abuse of Poland's natural resources. In 1985, they started to do something about it. So they established a Ministry of Environmental Protection and Natural Resources. But at the beginning, they only did a little or nothing. Between 1987 and 1988, government investment in environmental protection increased by only 6%. And in 1990, they started to take a huge step forward and do something about it. They come up with a environmental timetable, what they want to achieve. They want to reduce the extreme environmental hazards in 3 years, and they want to reach the level of European community requirements in 7 to 10 years. In early 1991, the Ministry of Environmental Protection and Natural Resources, they identify about 80 companies, 80 enterprises that was causing the most pollution and threatened them to shut them down if the pollution were not reduced. This is the first time that the role of the environmental organization in politician were recognized and were doing something officially for the first time. And in the late 1991, Poland established a state environmental protection inspectorate, and they gave them powers to regulate polluting industries. Penalties for environmental damage also were increased after that. So from 1991 to now, they started to recover from the World War II, and then their environment is getting better. Hello, so now I will go over the questions that we asked Mr. Peter and the answers that we received from him before we analyze the answers. So first, we asked Peter about his name and his position. So he's in hospitality business for 8 years. He started in France, and he did a lot of work in training abroad, and he just moved to Thailand and started Sofitel Sukhumvit 2 weeks ago. His first experience with working with diversity. So his first experience is in Miami, USA. There's a lot of diverse people, especially Hispanics, according to him. Many people are from Colombia, Cuba, and Mexico. Therefore, they have a Spanish background. They speak Spanish. And Peter did not speak Spanish, so he had to learn and experience new culture at that time. What is the key factor people need to have when they're working with multinational company? According to Peter, first is to have open-minded and to don't have any stereotype. The example he gave is that don't think like Chinese are all greedy or African people are all bad and poor. So have open-minded all the time. Third question, how would you train people from different background, different culture, train them to work together in the company? Well, first he has to make sure that people are open-minded and to know them well and understand the culture and how they think first. For example, for Asian culture, if you give compliment to one person, others will get offended. But in American culture, if you give compliment to one person, others will want to work harder and get that compliment too. So that's the difference between culture. You have to know the background of people that you work with. So the next questions, how do you think this company could improve their cultural training program, and what would he do if he was in charge? for Sofitel. So companies should understand that every individual is different. Companies should listen to each employee and his and her point of view, and let the employees express their feelings and their thoughts, so you can understand how their mind works and will be able to cooperate with them better. What is the most difficult thing Peter has to face when he was working with diverse environment? Well, the hardest thing he has to deal with is dealing with people and know how not to offend them. Each individual has different background and knowledge. If an employee did something wrong, a manager need to step back and think why the employee made the mistake. Maybe he learned it like this from his culture and did not know better. Maybe a mistake for him is not for maybe a mistake for the manager is not a mistake for him. Some people you cannot be straightforward with. Some people you have to go around and know how to communicate. How do you think cross-cultural training program is important to the company itself? Well, now in today's world, it's like one country. You cannot avoid multi-diversity, especially in hotel industry. In Sofitel, they have Indian workers, French workers, Thai workers, and they used to have German workers also. So cross-cultural program is very important so that employees know how to work along and cope with each other better. Last questions. How do you choose staff if you need to send somebody abroad? So that someone has to be open-minded, someone who can stands pressure and is okay with it, someone who is eager to learn about other culture and the world, and who does not stuck with his own educational background, someone who is open-minded and wants to learn more. So thank you.
So and then for the interview analysis, so for the first question is I asked them, I would like to know what is your first experience with working with diversity. So we analyze his answer that he has the experience and in the multicultural company. So like in his old company have like a lot of culture like Spanish, like from the people from Colombia, people from Cuba, people from Mexico. So he has this experience in his life. And for the second question is what do you think the key factor that people need to have when they're working with multinational company? So from his answer, we got the employee must have the skill that open-minded when you work with diversity, and also you have to respect the people from different background. Is really important because when you have this skill, you can work with another people, and also like have like very less problem when you're working with them. And for the third question is how do you train the people from the different background, different culture to work in the same company? So as he said, workers should have the skill that open-minded and also have to understand knowing that employees and understand like the different culture. For example, so we are the Asian, so we should understand the people from the Western country, and also them have to understand us too. And for the fourth question, the question number 4 is how do you think this company could improve the CCTP? So as he said, the company should have like this program to make the employee understand all the worker, and this can make the efficiency in the company. And also the question number 5 is what is the most difficult thing when you're working in diverse diverse environment. So as he explained, the dealing with other worker is difficult because for the individual has different culture, background and knowledge. So and how they behave in the workplace, how the working styles is different. So the first is you should understand the other people, so it can make like company like go forward and have like good environment to the workplace. And question number 6 is, how do you think CCPT is important to the company itself? So as he said, nowadays world is like very big, it's like very open. You can go easy to go another place, to go travel, to go working in different country. So we cannot like escape from the multi-diversity. So the CCTP is really important to everyone because it can make the employee understand and understanding the people from different culture and make them like a group of team and make them like work in the teamwork. So the last question is, how do you choose the staff if you need to send someone abroad? So as he said, if he wanna choose one person, that person has to be open-minded, listen to other people, and also adapt to the new environment easily. So, and benefits from the interview. So we analyze it in the interview question, and then we got 3 points from CCTP. So the first one is communication. The communication is really important because when you working with another people, is of course it's gonna be make misunderstanding. So if you don't have like a good communication skill with another, it's made a trouble to the company for sure. But if you have like really good skill of communication with another people, so you can form the team and you can work with another people like efficiency, like both productivity. And secondly, the second is the long-term benefits. Of course, when you have the CCTP and have a lot of staff that from different culture, CCTP is really important. So it can make the long-term benefits. The people, so when you have like the people from different background, different country, so they have like different skill from us. So someone from Western can be have like very open-minded, very good knowledge from there, like operational, they're really good at it. So the manager can the employee is can flexible and open in mind, can approach to the new challenge in the foreign environment. And the third one, the finally, is adaptation. So adapting is difficult. It's difficult when you go to abroad, when you move to abroad. So it make you like feel down and can make the depression. So the best thing to living abroad to adapt to new culture. So if you can adapt to the new culture really easily, really fast, you can have like really bad experience in your life, and it also in the workplace. And and when you adapt to the new culture, so that your friend and your workers who work with you can support and help you, and it's good for you when you work in the different country. So thank you very much for your attention. So good afternoon. So we are from the Stanford University. We study in the cross cultural training program. So we just would like to ask you about some question about you and your hotel and company. So the first of all, we would like to know like your background, like what's your name and what you're working for.
So, my name is Peter, Pierrick in French. I'm from France. I've studied hospitality since for now almost 8 years. I've started in France and then I did many of my work and training abroad because I like to travel and I want to experience different cultures.
Okay.
So, yeah.
louder.
So you working at this here? Just how long for here?
So I arrived here at the Sofitel Sukhumvit 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
And I'm working now for 1 week, but I'm in contract for 1 year at least.
Alright.
Maybe more if there is a renewal of the contract.
Alright. So right. Next question, we would like to know like your first experience with working with diversity.
So my first experience was in USA, in Miami, which is an American country, but Florida and Miami is very specific, like many different states of USA. You have many Hispanic people from South America, so Colombian, Cuban, Mexicans, and they all talk Spanish, so they have their Spanish background and education, and I don't speak Spanish. So it was not tough, but it was a good experience because you have to. It was new kind of people and new cultures, especially with USA, which is really about money and sales. So I was kind of waiter over there and paid on depending on what I was selling, so on gratuity, what it's called. And in France, we are really not used to that kind of work. It's more about service, and in USA, it's more about money, upselling, sales, to increase your revenue and everything. So it was a completely new experience, and I had to change my way of thinking about hospitality and especially about how to be a good waiter.
Alright.
What do you think is the key factor that people need to have when they are working with multinational company?
I think a key factor, maybe working in an international company or in everyday life, is to be really open-minded and have no, I would say, expectation about the other, not like any ideas. Do not make like fake ideas, because we are always thinking about others with fake ideas. With, for example, about I have no really example of Chinese. They are greedy. Like Africans, they are like very poor and bad. This is like bad, wrong example, but things like this. So the best things is to really be open, to try to understand the people, to understand the background, and the word I use is to step higher in your relation with people and not being stuck with, okay, I've learned or I've seen people are like that, so they are like this.
So, and how would you train the people with different background? Like when you have like Chinese workers or African workers, something like that.
For training, if you have different people in a team, those people should already be a little bit open-minded. If you have the same kind of people, you have to know those people first. So basically, for example, if you are with Chinese, you cannot like tell, oh, this you did a very good job, today was really good for you, because the other people, a member from the team, will get offended. With an American people, it works like this. They encourage and they give good feedback to one person. Okay, you did a good job. So the other will feel, okay, next time I want to be that person, so I need to increase my work. But for example, with Asian culture, I don't think it's things like this. Again, it's something I've learned and I've experienced, but not so much. So maybe my idea will change with the future. But, yeah.
How do you think this company could improve their cross-cultural training program? What would you input to the program itself if they put you in charge?
For the Sofitel, I think they have like pretty good training. They are like really focused on staff training and cross cultures. So I would not be like the right person to interview for that. But what I will do, yeah, again, is to know each of my team members, understand how they try to understand how they work by looking about their education, things like this. Again, what I use is before arriving to a country, I go on the internet and I go on a special website with a guy who studied many cultures called Geert Hofstedt. Maybe you've heard about him. And he did a country comparison depending on many different dimensions, with masculinity, time difference. You have like 5-6 dimensions, which can help you to understand the other. So I will first show that to my team to explain them, okay, every individual is different, so we have to understand the other before saying something or before thinking about him. So first to learn about him, try to be open, to listen to him, to let him talk, to explain his point of view, and not being against, like if you have an idea about one opinions, if the other has another opinions, like being stuck, okay, my opinion is the best. There is no best opinions. Everybody has different knowledge and you can learn from everybody.
Alright, so the next question is what is the most difficult thing that you face when you're working, like with diversity?
Basically, again, is even if for me I'm quite open-minded and everything, you always face your education and your background. So you have to understand that moment when something happens and you get offended or you react, oh, this is not what I would like or how I would have done it. And then maybe if you don't think about that, you will talk to the person like and maybe offend him and tell him, okay, that's wrong what you did, what you do. But you first have to go back, step higher, try to say, okay, why am I reacting like this? Okay, it's maybe because of my background, my education, what did he do wrong? Why did he do it like this? Maybe there's a reason he did it like this, maybe because he learned he has to do it like this. Or is it a mistake, not a mistake? Mistake, again, it depends on cultures. A mistake for me can be not a mistake for you, for example. It's something you know, because you have already done it like this.
Alright, so
How do you think cross-cultural training program is important to the company itself?
Nowadays, the world is like it's one country, I would say. So you cannot avoid to have multicultural training and cross-cultural training. Everybody in the hotel, you have no only Thai people, only French people. It's always different cultures. For example, in the restaurant here, I'm French. Dhruv is Indian. We have Thai people. There were like German before. So there's always different cultures especially in hotel industry, which is everywhere, and you travel and people from different horizons. So it's really, really important nowadays in any jobs actually.
So, and here in Sofitel have like CCTV program for that?
I think they do, but again, I'm not sure. I just arrived 2 weeks ago. I'm brand new here, but probably if the HSA should have something like this, because Sofitel is a French brand, which is really focusing on training and which is really open-minded. They are spread all over the world, so they know about cross-cultural training. And they have, I'm pretty sure they have special training for that.
Alright. So before you came here, what did you work for?
Before that, I was in Mauritius. I've studied my bachelor in France 8 years ago, and I stopped and I worked in France a little bit, and then I went back to study to do a master in hospitality management in Mauritius, which is a perfect country about multicultural country. You have Hindus, you have Muslims, you have Christian, you have Buddhism, and they all live together with no problem about religion and things like this. So it was a very good experience, and it's a small island, so everybody knows each other. I was there just studying, and I've visited few hotels. My previous job was in France again, and before that, in USA. I was in Bora Bora, in French Polynesia, which is French, but also very different cultures, because they are islanders, and that's their country. That's a French island, but they have their own president. They have their own cultures, Tahitian cultures, which is completely different than French cultures. According to the time, they work different. They are very smiling like Asian people and Thai, but they can be very offended if they don't understand why you are angry with them. So you need to explain them the things easily and go from behind, like to be gentle and not being strict and tough with them.
How do you choose a staff if you need to send somebody abroad?
Again, if you need to send somebody abroad, we'll join the first answer. Will be somebody open-minded, somebody who can react to pressure, who understand pressure and is okay with it. We'll say open-minded, testing pressure again. Somebody who wants to learn, who is eager to learn about different cultures and education, who is not stuck with his education and wants to learn about the world and about the people. So somebody who, first when they come, try to understand the others before trying to tell his opinion to the other.
Okay, so I think that's it for today. Thank you very much.
My pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I was also here just in